Hello and welcome. This is Coach Shaw Richardson from HPOP here to talk to you about the pull-up progression that we as the strength and conditioning staff use to not only teach proper pull-up technique, but also use to improve performance in the pull-up and teach our athletes how to better use that movement as a tool to improve performance. With any of our training progressions, the main purpose is to improve the long-term effectiveness of using any one specific movement as a tool to improve performance. So this will be done by learning good technique, which is ultimately going to minimize risk of injury, prevent bad habits, and help us avoid plateaus in our training because there are multiple variations that we can utilize, so we're not limited to any one specific movement. Now, with the pull-up specifically, what we're doing here is we're really attempting to build the various capacities that are required to perform pull-ups well and use them as an effective tool to improve our overall performance, our upper body strength, and really have the capacity to support a ruck and full kit as we go into duty. So with any progression, we're always going to be thinking simple to complex, light to heavy, and low risk to high risk as far as injury goes. Not that we would ever put anyone at an unnecessary risk of injury, but typically we do see slightly higher risk with the movements that do also have a better return on our investment for our training. The first movement in our pull-up progression is what many of us are familiar with from FM 7-22 as a straight arm pull. You may have also heard this called a scap pull-up, as seen in the example here. This movement is a very important starting point to any vertical pulling movement because it's going to provide the foundation for any of those related movements outside of pull-ups, including chin-ups, neutral grip pull-ups, lat pull-downs, anything where you're pulling from an overhead position. This movement is really going to help decrease risk of shoulder injury by building the stabilizing muscles around the shoulder that keep us in an advantageous position to pull, but also in a safe position where we're not at as high risk for shoulder impingements. This is also going to help us improve our ability to maintain good position at the shoulder while building the grip endurance necessary to improve our pull-ups with the other movements in this progression. The next movement in our pull-up progression is an assisted pull-up. Now this can be used either in conjunction with our first movement, the straight arm pull, or can be used in a subsequent phase of training after focusing primarily on the straight arm pull itself. That's going to be dependent on the training age and the performance level of the athlete, but either way of doing it is acceptable depending on the situation. We have two different types of assistance that we teach at HPOP, one of which would be band assistance as shown in the video to the left. And the second type of assistance would be a partner assist as shown in the video to the right. There are various reasons for using each one, and we'll go through some of those, but primarily what we're seeing here with assistance in general is that it allows us to perform higher quality movements. This is going to be because we're better able to maintain proper position, and the assistance is actually going to encourage a full range of motion. One thing we see a lot is shortening the range of motion when an individual isn't able to get all the way through the pull-up, and that can predispose somebody to a higher risk of injury at the elbow and the shoulder, mainly from tightness in the biceps. Assistance is also going to allow for more reps, which not only gives us more opportunity to learn the movement itself, but also build the appropriate muscle groups needed to perform pull-ups well. Our different types of assistance are going to allow us to address the individual challenges that someone may be having. For example, a band is going to give more assistance from the bottom of the pull-up and less at the top. So if an individual is having a harder time initiating the pull-up from the bottom, that may be a good way to go. Partner assistance, however, is variable since the assisting partner can adjust how much help they're giving the lifter. It can be more specific to addressing maybe a sticking point in the middle of the rep or any other portion where that individual is having trouble. If all goes according to plan, after about 4 to 6 weeks of training with an assisted pull-up, we would move into the next movement in our pull-up progression, which would be an eccentric only pull-up. This is going to be a pull-up where we completely remove the upward phase of the pull-up and really emphasize the downward phase as seen in the video here. By doing this, we actually improve our body's ability to recruit the proper muscle groups for a pull-up and really reinforce good position because we're spending so much time there. Our body has to get very good at keeping the shoulders back and down, which continues to improve our injury resistance in the pull-up. When we lose that shoulder position, it is common to see shoulder impingements. This is also a great way of increasing the intensity of our pull-up without any equipment. All it does is increase the time under tension, meaning we're spending more time with that muscle contracting. So our body is getting both stronger, and eccentric contractions have been shown to be great for building muscle mass. This is also, like I said, going to reduce an acute risk of injury when we're performing pull-ups because we're in better position and we're better able to control that movement. After again about 4 to 6 weeks of training with an eccentric only pull-up, the next movement in our progression would be the full pull-up itself as seen in the example here. This movement combines all the key aspects that were developed through the previous movements in our progression, including the grip endurance and shoulder stability that's been built up through every step of this progression. We've built muscle mass in the mid and upper back, primarily through increased volume and time under tension, which has then given us a greater ability to pull with the upper body in a vertical plane and use full range of motion. That is one thing I always want to encourage with any pull-up is to keep full range. That means from the bottom, elbows should be completely extended with the shoulders still back and down away from the ears. At the top, we want to see the chin completely above the height of the bar, if possible, making contact with the collarbone to the bar itself. This movement has great carryover to job tasks, including climbing drills and the ACFT leg tuck, and will be very helpful even for building the capacity to ruck more proficiently. That extra muscle mass in the upper and mid back helps better support a pack or kit, which then improves our ability to ruck more efficiently. As with the ACFT leg tuck, one of the big limiting factors we have seen is an inability to pull with the upper body to the proper position to then tuck the knees to the elbows. These things can all be improved with the pull-up, and if you have any questions on this, please contact the HPOP staff. We're always here to help, and thanks for watching.